This is going to be a little video tutorial on how to do something periodically based on frame count. Frame count is a variable that keeps track of how many frames your draw loop has gone through. Every time a draw loop executes, frame count increases. And the rate at which the draw loop increases will depend on the frame rate, which you can set using this function. You usually do that somewhere towards the top of the program. So as you can see, I've got a couple of ellipses here, and this one's just chugging along as fast as every frame of the animation. It's just adding another pixel and moving along as fast as it can. That all of the variables for that ellipse are right here. I started it out at x equals 10, y equals 300. Now this variable right here, w2, I'm using in here, and let me explain this chunk of code. Frame count mod 60. So what mod 60 does for me is instead of looking at like the actual value of frame count, which might be like 5,700 and some odd, I don't know, I'm going to divide that value by 60 and return the remainder. So basically what that does is it restricts this value into a range between 0 and 60. If frame count is a multiple of 60, then there is no remainder. It divides evenly, so it's going to be 60. Whereas if it's a remainder of 60 plus 1, like 121 for example, then this is going to be equal to 1. So that's what modular arithmetic is, and you can learn more about that over here. And I use the same operator and look at the mod of the weight variable. And so if my weight is 10, for example, then 10 divided by 40, for example. Why don't I just pull up a Python shell, because this is a different programming language, but it has mod built into it as well. So let's just calculate what that is. 10 divided by 40 is 10. 10 divided, well, I shouldn't say divided by it, but sometimes I accidentally do that. 10 divided by something less than itself is 0. Let's look at a whole bunch of values. This programming language has an entirely different syntax for doing for loops, so hopefully that doesn't confuse you. It does not like it when you divide by 0, so where did I do that? I need to start my list of numbers that I'm starting out somewhere other than 0. So if you pass in 2 parameters to this, so 10 mod 1 is 0, 10 mod 2 is 0, 10 mod 3 is 1. Mod is pretty hard to wrap your brain around, but the thing that I want to point out here is that these values are less than 10. and everything greater than that is equal to 10. And if I had something like this where it wrapped around and went back to 0, then you'd have a periodically oscillating thing where you have a range of values that are less than 10 and then a whole bunch of 10s, and then it would wrap around and you'd have these numbers show up again. So that's where the periodicity comes from. And that's just illustrated in the fact that for 10 iterations of the draw loop, I'm allowing it to increase its pixels because it's less than the weight. And then for the rest of the time, it's actually going to take this and that'll evaluate to 10, because all of these values from 10 to 60, when modded with the weight, will return 10. And then 10 is not less than 10, so it will increase. It's a very convoluted way of doing things, but that's just how my brain works. Hello. Hold on.